Welcome to the DATRE Transcripts. Transcript 002. Note, as DATRE has said previously, when they say you, that refers to all of the mass consciousness individuals. Al, you asked several questions of DATRE. They have broken them into segments for answering. John. Question. I'm confused as to what we are supposed to be doing. Are we just to be, to experience and learn how to create within this reality, or are we supposed to be trying to break free or extend beyond this reality? DATRE. Now, in being conscious of what you are doing in this reality, in your creativity, you are going to automatically, and I don't like to use the words break free of this reality, because it is not an effort that you need to sit down and huff and puff about. If you will observe people in general, you will notice that the majority of the mass consciousness on your planet reacts rather than acts. Consciously acting is very different than reacting. In other words, when you get to the point of purposefully acting, you will notice a great change in that physical expression you are working with. Reaction is a very simple process. Someone says something, someone does something. Reaction is automatic with the physical body. What is to be learned in your experience in physical reality at this time is to purposefully act. Let the others do the reacting. You observe and act accordingly. In other words, someone makes a comment, another individual in a group of individuals in a room dislikes it. The first thing someone does is react to that sentence that was stated. Now, you sit and watch the action. That does not mean that you have to jump into the middle of it. That is reacting. Observing is a big process, and probably one of the most interesting of all processes that you have within the physical being. You and the physical being work together, shall we say, in a cooperative enterprise. In other words, the body is almost like a little child that needs to be taught. As you teach the little body how to act purposefully, a great many things will begin to happen within that which you are expressing. It is not a conscious effort to get out of here. In fact, as you begin to act consciously, you will find that observation and purposeful action becomes a very, very fascinating stage on which to work. Now, the purpose for physicality is learning. By reacting, you are allowing the body and that which you call your brain free rein to tossing you in whatever direction it so chooses. Begin to watch your reaction, the reactions of others, and by observation, you begin to take action purposefully. That's the easiest method there is. You will find that the more you do that, the more interesting that which you call life becomes, and you will no longer have the desire to quote-unquote get out of here. Next question? John. Okay, I'll continue on from that point. If our purpose is to break free, is it accomplished by a strong positive effort or by gradual withdrawal within? DATRE. The thing that will happen is you will find that when you begin to watch the process of the brain and the physical being, as if you were standing outside of yourself and looking in and watching from that standpoint, it will become more and more fascinating to watch the process of living. In watching the process of living, you will find you live, and that's with a capital L, to a greater extent than you have ever believed possible. It is a grand experience. Next question. John, I am reminded of your analogy with the candy store. What if we just don't want any more candy, but keep waking up every morning in the candy store? Do we make the best of it, get a job behind the counter, and live as best we can? Or do we withdraw and concentrate on trying to wake up somewhere else? DATRE. Number 1, get back to the point of living. When you begin to truly live within your physical being and your brain, you will find that you will begin to make a gradual shift out of the brain chatter that you reside with every day. The shift is an interesting experience. When you become aware of what you are teaching the brain and the body in your physical expression, you will begin to work with universal mind thought. When you begin that process, there's no longer the struggle, because you will begin to see that which you have come into physical expression this time to, as you put it, learn. It becomes clear what your purpose in physicality really is. At that time, you will no longer have this massive struggle with your brain, your body, and the experiences which you are presented. Because you begin to take each experience, and instead of laying on the floor and kicking and screaming and crying as a child does, you will, quote, open your eyes and discover what you are experiencing. And at that point, the experience which looked to be tragic becomes very interesting. It is a natural process that happens. It is not something you need to struggle with. That is one of the things that inhibits your progress in any direction, is struggling with anything. Next question. John, you cast doubt as to whether you create your reality is totally valid. DATRE, the process of action and reaction comes in again. Your process of reaction is not creating your own reality. Your own reality is created when you become consciously aware of the experience set in front of you. And when you begin to look at the experience, drop the struggle and say, why am I doing this? For what reason? And you, quote unquote, apparently get no answer. Then go forward without struggle and see what happens. Does that puzzle you? John, no. DATRE, continue. John, do we create our own reality but within imposed by an outside force barriers? DATRE, there is nothing and no one that creates barriers for you. The barriers are only there because you put them there. You are constantly looking from the vantage point of, shall we say, looking at a looking glass. A mirror, as you call it. When you begin looking at the mirror in front of you, you will see how you act and react. The barriers are not there except when you speak of that which you call your realities. There is definitely a barrier between realities, and that is a vibrational construct put there to keep you from sliding all over. In other words, were you to slide into a reality that your physical being and your mental brain capacity could not handle, it would create a type of madness, because you would have nothing with which you could operate. John, no reference points. DATRE, there are no reference points. You see, that is the thing that individuals do not understand. They all say, I would like to get out of here. I want to go into the universe. What are you going to do when you get there? Number one, you have not learned, shall we say, or have not experienced, I like that better, you have not experienced working with universal mind. So, when you get to the universe, you don't have your brain to function with. If you cannot function off of universal mind, which is that which is in the whole universe, everything is there. If you do not know how to handle that, what are you going to do with it? John, go mad. DATRE, that is correct. So you see, the process of going out into the universe is a learned process, and that comes from many years of observing what is happening to you, what is happening to your physical body, what is happening to other people, and working within the constructs that you have. You cannot say, I wish to quit the candy store, unless you wish to, what you humans call, die. John, then it is just a different kind of candy store. It's still a candy store. DATRE, that is still a candy store, but it is a different candy store than the one you are in. You do not get out of the candy store until, let's put it this way, you do not go from first grade to first year college without going through what you call the grade school. You don't have the capacity with which to make that jump. John, you don't know the rules. DATRE, you don't know the rules, and the rules are only presented to you at the time your understanding reaches a certain point. You cannot travel into the universe without that which you would call knowledge/understanding, because you need knowledge to have that which you call wisdom. And wisdom is only that which you obtain, shall we say, through physical expression. As your knowledge and understanding changes, the body automatically follows with a different vibratory construct. That is what changes the vibration of the physical being, is knowledge/understanding. Enough? John, fine. DATRE, continue. John, are we in fact being controlled and manipulated from outside, or is this a personal belief/experience? DATRE, you are not being controlled from the outside. No way. If you want to say you are being controlled by the outside, then know what your controller is. Your controller is that which is your life spark psyche that you connect with in what you call your sleep state. The reason you feel controlled is you are still in a state of reaction. The simplest thing I can probably tell the humans on this planet to do, to be able to work more directly with your psyche, is begin the process of clearing your mind totally and completely before going into that which you call sleep. Many of you go to sleep thinking about yesterday, today, and tomorrow, going through everything in minute detail. What did I do today? And all of this. Every moment that you are in existence is gone in the blink of an eye. So what does 10 minutes ago have to do with the present? That is a very hard concept, and if you really begin to search for answers wherever you think you can find them, you will discover that these things are not something that you have to sit down and huff and puff about or try to manipulate. It is just being that which is you. Clear your mind of all thoughts. Don't leave any strings hanging that you can pull into dream time. Dream time is orchestrated for all on your planet for experience. In dream time, you and your life spark, your psyche, search that experience that you wish. Bring it into your daytime and live it. What if I die in the middle of the day and I don't achieve that which I wanted to achieve? You won't do that. You will achieve what you want to achieve, if you know why you are here and what you are doing. If you know why you are here and what you are doing, you can stay as long as you want to. And I don't care what they say about the physical body has to die. It does not. The physical body will stay with you as long as you wish to experience physicality. Next question. John, is there a common reality between all of us in this materiality, or are we each completely separate, seeing only reflected aspects of ourselves? More to the point, is anyone that we perceive real, or do we each just see shadows? DATRE, that is a complicated question to answer, but I will answer it this way. Since you are now in the process of those that are, shall we say, brain thinking on this planet, are beginning to brain think that which is the hologram. Now, the hologram, in some instances, has been referred to as the shadows. In some instances, the shadows have been referred to as that the other aspects of yourselves, your other probable selves. Your words become very difficult in many instances because each one chooses a different way of describing the same thing. That is not being evasive on our part. That is saying that words have a tendency to be very limited in scope. You are seeing and interacting with other holographic figures. That is true. You are. Their actions and reactions are decided upon between those you act and interact with. That is a mutual choice experience. In other words, someone is going to experience something within their physical being in the wake state. In that experience, you will probably meet what you call a stranger. That stranger is only a stranger in physical reality, but the stranger is that whom you have met with your psyche to plan, shall we say, a play that you are going to put on the stage and in which you both are going to take part. Now, You can say, well, I didn't plan to walk out on the street and have someone shoot me. Wrong. There are no accidents, and I wish to have that emphasized. That happened because it was an experience you both wanted, or it would not happen. It cannot happen. That is the way your reality is set. Now you will say, what about free will? Free will is done not on a reaction basis. That is not free will. Reaction is not free will, and I emphasize that. Action is free will. And until you, in the physical expression, and the psyche, that is the life spark that you are working totally together, you will be in that experience of action-reaction. When you and that life spark, the psyche that is you, and the portion of you that is playing out the game, when you begin to work in tandem with the physical body, which is a very, very intelligent means of expression, when the three of you work together as one, your whole reality changes. When your reality changes to the point that the physical body vibration/energy changes to a point that it can no longer sustain the physical being in this reality, you will automatically move to another reality. That is of a different expression. That does not mean you leave everything you have learned behind. You take that along as building blocks for the next reality of experience. There are many realities to experience. When you have experienced enough realities so that your vibration/energy construct no longer is compatible with these realities, you will move into the universe. Is that understood? John, yes. DATRE, next question. John, is there a common destiny purpose for us as a group, or are each of us on our own separate paths/missions? DATRE, each of you chose this physical experience for that very thing, experience. It is very interesting when people say, I want to go out into the universe and have not the tools to go there. A carpenter does not go out to build a house with plumbing supplies. It doesn't work that way. You will discover that the more you know to use your word, understand, work with, the quieter you will become, and the more you will enjoy the physical expression that you are in at the present time. It does not matter if the neighbor across the street does such and such. It does not matter that your best friend does such and such. It does not matter what anyone else does. The learning process is yours. John, very personal. DATRE, it is not only very personal. That is all there is. They talk about all that is, and if you are to become all that is in experience and expression, then that is when you will discover what it's not a lonesome path, but what an individual experience it is. Now, that which is called DATRE is a combination of many different, shall we say, to use your words, expressions. We each are individuals, another expression of yours, but we work as a total whole also, which is an impossibility for you on the planet to understand because you have built yourself such barriers that you're individualized to a point of not being able to understand the integration that occurs as you continue to understand. Did I miss something? John, no. DATRE, all right. We switched vibration and I wanted to be sure that nothing was lost. John, not that I know. No, the continuity didn't get lost. DATRE, all right, fine, thank you. Next question. John, that's the end of the questions from Al. I was wondering, do you have any final commentaries that you would like to plug in at this point? DATRE, commentaries. No, I do not believe so. I connected up to use your words. The consensus of opinion is when questions are asked, we will answer. Because unless someone gets to the point of experiencing some of the things that we answer in the questioning stages, then it is fruitless to give information that has no framework upon which information can build. In other words, it is like taking this channel out, and when not taking her out, but she goes out herself and experiences some of the things in the universe, and she coming back and has no framework in the physical to express it. She had the experience was hers and hers alone. But to put it into physical words, your language does not have anything that can be used. So there is no need to overwhelm people with words with which they have no framework. We thank you for this opportunity. We have changed many times in our answering of the questions. As we have said before, we each have our own quote-unquote specialty. If there are further questions, we will answer them, if these answers are not clear to individuals. Thank you again. Good night. We are DATRE.